All right, everybody. Good morning. Welcome to our October 2024 edition of The Art of Cooking Well. I'm Amber Beebe, that will be in the tech background and on this little tiny screen right here. And soon we'll be joined with Jen Hosier in the kitchen, see what she has stored up for us today. We are part of the St. Luke's Bariatric Nutrition Department. We'll be leading you through some recipes today that are focused on National Pizza Month, one of my favorite foods. We'll have a pumpkin brew and some brownie bites for dessert. Before I jump over to Jen in the kitchen, here are some basic announcements. Please keep in mind that some people are like, hey, I don't get the emails for cooking class anymore. You need to ask to be joined into the class. So you might be signed up after a visit with us for 3 to 4 classes, but then if you want to join more classes, you need to send us an email, okay? If you want to join for future. Always check the My Chart for classes that you're signed up for, and always remember that to keep your microphones muted so that we can focus and not hear background music or, dogs barking or things like that. And also that we're recording the class. So it will be in YouTube in about a week, a little over a week. And so if you happen to be watching the recorded version and you'd like copies of the recipes, please send us an email to bariatricsupport@slhs.org and reference the cooking class for October 2024. All right, let's switch it over to Jen in the kitchen and see what she has in store for us.
Hey, you guys. Welcome again to October for our cooking class here. And we, like Amber said, we've got some fun chews and brews and some good stuff going on here today. So we thought it'd be kind of fun to make some pizzas for National Pizza Month. So we got some scary pizzas going on here, right? Halloween's coming up. So what we're going to start with is our dough. And we've already put ours together for you, but I'm just going to talk through it really briefly so that you kind of have an idea of what you're doing. It's not too difficult at all, but basically this is called fathead dough. It's got cheese, it's got some almond flour, some seasonings, pretty simple. But what you're going to want to do is take your mozzarella, put it in a bowl, stick it in the microwave and start warming it. It might take a couple minutes. I would suggest warming it for a minute, pulling it out. You might want to stir it up a little bit because microwaves don't cook evenly, and give that a stir and then stick it back in if you need to melt it some more, and just make sure it's really all good and gooey in your bowl. You want to set that aside and let it cool. Then you're going to put all your dry ingredients in another bowl. Just make sure those are all stirred together. You'll want to go ahead and add that egg to your mozzarella, right? We add wet ingredients together, we add dry ingredients together. That's how we do recipes. So get that stirred into the mozzarella, put the dry ingredients in, give that a good stir, get it all incorporated. And then before you roll it out, the instructions do say to go ahead and knead that a couple times. It just kind of helps incorporate it a little bit more. Sometimes we get a little bit of air and lift incorporated in. Typically, we're doing that with our doughs as well when we're doing standard bread. So what we have here now in front of me is we have some of that dough here in between two parchment papers. And what we're going to do is go ahead and roll this out. You could not use the parchment paper, but I'm going to tell you it's going to be a little sticky. So I would suggest you can put it between parchment paper. You could do this technically between wax paper if you wanted to for the rolling piece, but you don't want to bake it on the wax paper. You want to bake it on the parchment paper. So if that's the case, might as well just roll it between the parchment paper, right? So we're just rolling this out. I mean, you can kind of go to whatever thickness you want, but keep in mind that the thicker it is, the more you're going to have to increase that baking time. So you just, it can kind of be whatever you prefer, and then just know that that'll adjust the baking time for you a little bit. So we're going to roll this out, and I'm going to beautify here a little bit for us. We're going to get our edges a little rounder, like a pizza. We're going to get it pushed out here a little bit. So this probably is a part where if you have kids, they would want to help with that because it's a little bit more hands-on. It's not hot, so you don't have to worry about the heat part of that. But I'm just trying to get this more round. It's a little oblong. That's one of my very few perfectionist kind of moments. There are not that many of them, but I'm working on it. All right, so we're getting this all kind of spread out. All right, very nice. Very rustic, got all the herbs in there. Nice and simple. Now, this is where the magic comes in, okay? This recipe has a very, very special Gouda sauce. That is what this first recipe has as its sauce. We are doing the bacon, pear, and caramelized onion pizza. So we got our base. It's the same base, same dough for all the pizzas we're doing today. So same thing, doesn't really matter. But this is a really fun, kind of good fall pizza. And I'm telling you, this sauce, it's the best one. This is our favorite because of that sauce. I'm pointing over here because I have it in the pot. And what you're going to do with this, if you've made white sauces before, pretty much the same thing. If you haven't, I'll go ahead and walk through it here really quickly. You're going to get your saucepan out. You're going to put your butter in the pan and melt it. You're going to add the flour that you're using. It can be the regular all-purpose flour. You can use different kind of alternative flours, but that's just what's going to go in that to make what's called the roux for thickening. We're going to get those all stirred together, and you kind of let that sit in the pot for a few seconds or a minute just to kind of start to cook and brown just a teensy bit. And then we pour in our milk. And we put in our cheese, which in this case is Gouda. And I'm sorry I'm doing it because it's Gouda, right? It's so good. And then you just slowly warm that to let the cheese melt and let the milk warm up. So you want to make sure you don't go super hot. You don't want to scald the milk. Then you're going to get brown flecks and crunchies, and it's okay, but it's not the best. So we just want to melt it or get it all melted and warm together. And then at the end, we're putting in a pinch of nutmeg and a pinch of cayenne. So we're not making spicy sauce. And you can technically leave those out. But I'm telling you, those two little pinches, man, they bring the level up on this guy. So I would highly encourage you to include those into this sauce. So what we're going to do is we're just going to go ahead and we're going to spread that around on our pizza. If you don't use it all, or this could be really good for other things. I think the pizza is a great one, but some people might take the fathead dough and instead of making a pizza base, they would roll it into breadsticks. We did that a couple years ago. We made it into breadsticks, and then you could dip that. And this would be a really good dip for breadsticks. I should put my hands up, breadsticks, in quotes there. So that's what we've got there. And then basically we're just putting on our toppings and we're putting it in the oven. Bada bing, bada boom. 500-degree oven, so get that guy cranking up, I would say first, and then while you are making your toppings and such, then that guy can be heating up. What we have here are some thinly sliced pears. All right, so we've got some of those nice fall fruit, and so we're putting a little bit of this on there. I know fruit has sugars, but we're doing a whole fruit here. We're not doing a ton, so we've got plenty of pear here. That could probably be something you could even set on the side for people who like to eat it on the side as well. And then we've got some caramelized onion here. So I started caramelizing this first, put it in the pan with some oil and some salt. You're just kind of stirring it every now and then, basically letting it good and browned and shrunken down a whole lot. And then you got some really great caramelized onions. That does take a little bit of time. So we're going to want to do that. In fact, I'm going to do those first. We're going to spread those around. I love caramelized onions, y'all. It's good for a pizza. They taste good on top of burgers, I think is another good one. And they are so good for you. Aside from tasting amazing, they are amazing for you. Not too expensive, right? Just takes a little bit of time to put it together. And then we'll go ahead and put our bacon bits on top. And then Then we'll go ahead and layer our pears on top of that. That way we can see the pretty pears just a little bit more. So I'm going to go ahead and lay these on here. And then we'll get this guy into the oven for us. So this one, again, one of my favorites out of the pizzas that we're going to make today. There we go. So let me go ahead and hold this guy up for you so you can see it a little bit better. We will actually transfer it to the tray. That's important. And then I'll go ahead and kind of hold it up close there for you. It's a little hard to see. There we go. But you can kind of see the pears and the onions and the bacon. Okay, so into the oven, somewhere probably in that 10 to 15 minute time range, again, depending on how thick your crust is. So the thinner you make it, faster it's all gonna bake, right? So we're gonna stick that guy in. Boom, I'll set a timer here. We're ready to move on to the next recipe. So commercial break, I will be right back.
Hello, everyone. All right, we need some cooking classes. We've got next month, someone was asking about in the chat about cooking class. And so we will be talking about that. The next one is called Thanksgiving Feast, and that will be on November 15th from 11 to 12, which is a Friday. We're going to put some foods together that are going to be so awesome for your family to enjoy. So we're really excited about that.
Probably not this one.
Let me make sure I muted her. I did not mute her. Okay. And then our next Healthy Living series, that also starts in November, and that's going to be on vitamins and minerals. And so we're really looking forward to having you guys here for that. And those are nice and short. They're from 11:30 to 12 every Tuesday. And we've got Vitamins and Minerals 101 on that. Then we've got I'm so sorry. My notes are my notes are kind of messed up. I apologize for that. So we've got how to eat to support healthy digestion and absorption. We've got want to maximize your energy, learn what vitamins and minerals support energy pathways. Thyroid got you down, learn the key players of a healthy thyroid and how to optimize thyroid function. And all these changes will be in your My Chart. So if you guys aren't signed up for Healthy Living, it'd be awesome. We'd love to have you. It's a nice, like I said, a nice short class. It keeps you connected with the program. On one of our next breaks, I'm going to talk about the future, the ones we have planned for 2025. So you kind of mark your calendar for those. The most accurate will be in your My Chart as far as how that all goes. All right. So Jen's getting set up for the next one. Since we have a little second, we're going to put up some alternate flours for this pizza dough, right? Some people have nut allergies. We've got some alternate flours like coconut, arrowroot, psyllium husk powder. We use almond flour today, but if you have an allergies, like I said, coconut flour is super absorbent and it will make the crust that's a little bit more chewy. Just remember to use a bit more liquid to compensate for its absorbing nature. Sunflower seed flour is also something. It's high in protein, high in fiber, giving your crust a bit of nutty flavor. And I've also seen that when people blend the seeds yourself, it really enhances the flavor and texture of the sunflower seeds. I've done that before where I just grind it. I have a separate coffee grinder. So I have one for coffee, and then I have one for seeds like pumpkin, sunflower seeds, and all of that sort of stuff. All right, last question, and then I'll turn it over to Jen. Are the Healthy Living classes recorded? They are not, but we're going to be putting some in there as we, hopefully we're going to be adding some of those recorded separate, not with a live audience in the future. So that is coming. Okay, I'm going to send it back over to Jen.
Hey everyone, we're back in the kitchen. We're ready to move on to this next pizza. This is our fall flavors pizza, right? We got some kind of fall flavors in there. One that pops out to me, I think is the biggest one, is that butternut squash topping that we have going in here. And one of the first things that you'll want to do to prep for that is to roast your butternut squash. So that's the first thing I would probably do is we take our butternut squash, I put it in a bowl, oil, salt, tossed it around, put it on a tray, on a parchment paper lined tray, very makes your life easier. And I put that in the oven, 400, 450, 25-ish minutes or until it's starting to get a little bit brown. And so what we've got here now are these really delightful little pieces. We got a little bit of browning, a little bit of charring on there going. And I pulled them out and I just set them aside. So they just set aside and did a little bit of their cooling while that was in the oven. And we pre-cooked our sausage. So this will take a little bit less time than the butternut squash. So that's a good idea to start with the squash and then go ahead and move on to this. And then while that's cooking, doing its thing on the stovetop, you can chop your onion, you can measure out your other ingredients. If you need to get your dough ready, if you hadn't done that, you can get that ready to go and roll it out. So that's what we're going to do here. Now this one has a very simple sauce. We call it olive oil. Olive oil is very, 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 very good for you, okay? So if you can, especially if it's extra virgin olive oil, best, highest quality you can afford. Don't stress about it. But whatever you can fit into your budget, try and choose the best that you can. Because there are some very, very healthy anti-inflammatory compounds, we'll call them, in olive oil. Specifically the extra virgin, because that's the first pressing, so all the good stuff stays in that one. And so what we're going to do is spread that on. If you're able to incorporate even just 1 or 2 tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil into the foods that you normally eat in a day, just in different ways, drizzled on, cooked into, whatever it might be, you're really going to kind of increase the antioxidant power that you're putting to your body on a day-to-day basis. And a lot of times it's an addition that you would have made with some other kind of oil anyway. So usually a pretty kind of easy stick in with that. This will sound like a weird one, because people give me a weird look, but I'll say, if you're making a smoothie, you can put in a tablespoon of olive oil into that, because you don't taste the olive oil. You just taste the flavors of whatever you put into the smoothie. So that's a way to kind of hide a little bit of extra that into your day. If you ever happen to make a smoothie or a protein drink for yourself, sounds weird, but if you blend it, it emulsifies in with everything else that's in that smoothie, and you really can't tell that it's there. So that's another weird, kind of quirky, but easy way to get a little bit of extra olive oil in. All right, so we have our oiled crust right there. Of course, we need some cheese, right? So we need some mozzarella cheese. So we're gonna give it a good covering. I don't know about you guys, but cheese it's important in my life. It's important to me. It makes life better. So we've got our shredded mozzarella. We're gonna do a good covering. Crust to crust is a must. That's my policy. Anyway, I like as much of the crust covered as possible, because I kind of think the toppings are the best part. So I don't want to have bread without the toppings. I want toppings all over the place. So try to kind of spread that out as much as I could. And then we're going to go ahead and start layering our toppings in. So let's get some of this good sausage in. You know, we'll kind of sprinkle that in here. A fairly healthy layer here, because this is another one of our protein sources. You know, you don't need to totally overdo it, but I'm going to be fairly generous with my sausage. And then our red onions. Okay, another really great ingredient that gives a lot of good nutrition are onions, any kind of onions. I mean, the red, I think, kind of got a little bit of a bump of nutrition because of the color that's there. Color does signal to us that there's something valuable in what we're eating. So we do like color, but any onion that you like is perfectly fine. Then we're going to do our spinach / basil, whichever one you want. Both are great. A little bit of a different flavor. So if you want something a little bit more, I would say kind of simple, kind of lies underneath, the spinach is going to work better for you. If you really kind of want that herby pop, then I would go ahead and use the spinach. or I'm sorry, the basil, or if you have some that you're still harvesting off a plant or you've pulled it inside now. Now you can put them whole leaves on, or you can chop it. The first time we made this, we did the whole leaves. That worked out great. This time we chopped it. That'll work out fine too. So we're just going to go ahead and sprinkle a little bit of this on. That's kind of a lot, actually. There we go. We like green. Green is good, right? So we want all of our green. So we've got that. Then we're going to go ahead and we're going to put on our butternut squash. This one might sound a little odd. Probably not too many of us eat squash on our pizzas that often, but it is a fall vegetable. I know it's a little starchy, but it's got some great nutrients in it. And so if we're talking about including or trying to include more vegetables into our diet, this is kind of a nice way to do it. And we're, the starch that's in here is being spread out over the whole pizza. So we're not doing just a meal of squash, right? We're really spreading it out as part of the meal. And what we did with this, just to kind of let you know, because sometimes squashes are a bit of a bear to cut. If you buy a fresh squash, like getting that knife through is something, right? Watch your fingers on that. So if you want to do it that way and chop up, that's great. You can buy it pre-cubed in stores, fresh. Sometimes it's kind of a little hit and miss, but we do tend to see that in the area where you see the other pre-cut vegetables. So you might be able to get a container of squash. It's just fresh and ready to go there. And then you can also buy it frozen, which is what we did. We went ahead and bought it frozen. And we went ahead and roasted it that way. So I put the fresh or the frozen cubes into the bowl, oil, salt, tossed it into the oven. Works great. So we're just going to cook it some more. It's going to be really great and soft and roasty in there. So that is going to be our pizza. And then what we'll do just to kind of finish it in this guy is just sprinkle a little bit of salt and pepper. So just got a little bit of salt and pepper here. And I'm just going to go ahead and put that on top. Kind of like how they do in some of the pizza places. You can do the salt and pepper. You can do the oregano and the salt, or you can get your Italian seasoning back out and you can sprinkle some of that in here. Any kind of little toppers like that are perfectly fine. Just really kind of is more of a preference thing there. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and slide that guy in the oven. I'm going to check on my other one, which is beeping right now. We might just do a trade right here. This might be the one. Oh, you guys. This looks really good. Definitely, that was plenty of time. We got a nice little bit of brown on the outside. The pears are steaming. The cheese is bubbling. Y'all, woo! You're gonna look like a pro with this one. All right, so I'm gonna set that aside. We're gonna toss this one in. We're gonna give it that 10 to 12, probably. This one's a little thinner. And then we're gonna take a commercial break. We're gonna come right back. Pizza number 3. All right, see y'all in a minute. I forgot the feta. Put the feta on.
Okay, everybody. So great. So it smells so good in here. I honestly wish that we could just have, I just wish that we could have the smells and everything coming through the computer. Wouldn't that be awesome? So I just love being here, and it's so awesome to be able to be a part of this. We got to talk about the alternate flours, which is great. And so that's super important because a lot of people don't like to use almond flour, or it's expensive. It's kind of hard to find sometimes, but we got ours at Walmart. So it's not too bad. A lot of people get it at Costco as well. So what I want to talk about during this break is I want to talk about the healthy living classes, because we have a fantastic year in store for you all. Okay, so we talked about the vitamins, right? It's just important, something that people kind of get, depending on where you are in your journey. Sometimes people get a little bit lazy. They get like past a year or something. They're like, oh, I'll just take one a day, right? So it's really important to stay connected, hear about vitamins and minerals and how important they are. And then also, what we're going to be talking about in 2025 is, of course, we love to do our habits class in early January, right? We've got our New Year's resolution theme, and that is what we're going to be doing. The first topic of the first Tuesday after the New Year is building healthy habits, where to start, right? Important. And then on the second Tuesday, it's Habits 101, how to build, the first Tuesday is how to build healthy habits, Habits 101. The second one is putting it all together, building habits workshop. The third is untangling the web that keeps us bound to habits we don't want. Darn it. And we are all definitely in that camp, right? Putting it all together and untangling those is what we're going to finish it all off, right? Finish off that 4-week series. And then we skip a month. So we always take a month break. So we do six of these a year. And then the next one will be meal planning. And that will be label reading 101, balancing your bariatric plate. For the second week, the virtual grocery store tour, and mindful eating. Very important. Something we can all work on, the mindful eating piece. And then in May, we're going to, the theme will be diet is not the only area that affects health. We're going to talk about sleep. Why is it so important? So important. Oh my gosh. Stress, what happens to the body and how to manage it. Exercise, it may be more important than you think, especially to sleep and stress, right? Of course, exercise helps us lose weight, but it's not really exactly always the main reason why we move our bodies. And then community, why is having social commitments and connections so important? All right, that's May. And then in July, we're going to bring to you a series on gut health. Okay. We don't have all those titles yet for July. And then September, we're going to be talking about our brain and brain rules. That's going to be an awesome topic in September. And then in November, we will talk a little bit more about updated stuff on vitamins. Okay. So we are getting close to getting ready to move on to Jen. I will say real quick, because we didn't get to, I should have talked while she was cooking the onions, because the quercetin, maybe, is that how you say it? Quercetin. Man, that's a mouthful, right? It's a flavonoid pigment found in many fruits and vegetables, and it's definitely high in onions. It lowers our blood pressure, it lowers our cholesterol, lowers inflammation, lowers cancer cell replication. It's really good for you. So when Jen was talking about them concentrating down, that is also means you get more vitamins because you can have a whole onion and eat it, right? And it's not even that impactful in your in the amounts, and it has all the vitamins concentrated in there. Okay, it looks like Jen is ready, so I'm going to switch it on over. All right.
All right, folks, we are back in the kitchen and we are ready for pizza number 3. So we got our two, I'm going to say a little bit more adult-ish, maybe a little bit more cultivated pizza blends, if that's what we want to call them. This is a little bit more of the simple guy, kind of the one that, you know, definitely the kids would probably dig more. And it's just kind of fun and it's more Halloween themed. But, you know, we want to do a little bit of that here in our cooking today. So eyeball pizza, that's what we got. We thought it would be good to make sure that we get some fresh eyeballs. Just kidding. For the pizza today. So we're starting with our dough. There it is. Fathead dough. Boom. Right there. All ready to go. And then, of course, we need some sauce, right? So we're just using a regular pizza sauce. When you're shopping for these, of course, I think it's good to try and look at versions that have a little bit of less sugar. But we're not using a ton on this entire pizza. So not too worried about it. I'm going to use just the amount that I think I really, really need to get good coverage on this guy. So 1/4 to a 1/2 cup, you know, kind of whatever, however big your pizza is. Really, we don't have a super huge pizza here, so not too worried about that. Alrighty, there we are, sauce. And then we got some pepperoni. Spice it up a little bit. So we're just going to do a few slices of pepperoni. Nothing too crazy here. You can do regular, you can do the turkey pepperoni if you prefer that. I know everyone kind of has their different preferences with that, but we're just kind of, we're creating the base for the eyeballs. So we want our fresh eyeballs to have a good base here. So, you know, 7, 8-ish slices of pepperoni, but then we do need the whites of the eyes. So we got our little bit of fresh mozzarella. And, you know, kind of depends on what you find. when you're looking for your fresh mozzarella. I know sometimes it can be hit and miss for things lately, it feels like. So if you're looking for fresh mozzarella, this one is found in a tube, and it was a smaller, I don't know if it's very well to see, but it's a little bit of a smaller circumference on this guy. This will fit, I think, a little bit better for our eyeballs. If you have bigger ones, either you're just going to have bigger eyeballs, or maybe you'll want to cut them. Sometimes you can also find the little mozzarella pearls, and those I think also could work if that's what you needed to use. And then you would just lay your little eye on top of that, the iris on top of that. So we got our little black olives right here, and you can pre-slice them, or you can buy them pre-sliced, or you can slice them yourself, whichever, but we're using that, and that's going to make our eyeballs. So we're going to set those in. This is another one too, where if you do have kids, or just other people who like to be in the kitchen and help, doesn't have to be kids, they can assemble your eyeball pizza. Oops, that one's got some inside. We want to see the circle. That's what we want. There we go. All righty. So pretty simple, right? I mean, you could always kind of doll it up in different ways. If you wanted to sprinkle the mozzarella a little bit on, you could. That might kind of muddle up your eyeballs a little bit, but whichever is fine. Maybe a pesto drizzle, or if you took pesto and did little squigglies on the outside of your little olives, that could kind of give it that fun, like frazzled sort of eyeball look. So you can kind of tinker with that if you want to. We're going to finish this one with a sprinkle of some flaky salt and with a sprinkle of some oregano again. So, this could be the oregano. It could be the Italian seasoning. This just adds a little bit more pop to it because, again, it's kind of a basic combination that we've got going here. So this just adds a little extra something to it. There we go. Chopped up basil would be really, really good on that too. Might ruin your eyeball vibe a little bit, but whatever. And that's it. Bada bing, bada boom. Eyeballs, right? Good fresh eyeballs right there. So same thing. We're going to stick it into the oven. Going to be in that 10 to 15 minute time frame. It's going to go pretty quick. And so then you just keep on chugging along. So that one went really, really easy. So we can move on from here. And when this next one comes out, which is going to be in about 10 seconds, we'll go ahead and put this one in. And then I'm going to go ahead and let Amber do a little bit more chatting to you. We'll take another little commercial break, and we're going to move on to dessert. All right. There it goes. Let's check this guy. Oh, yes. Yeah. 10 minutes. It was awesome.
All right, everyone. Well, in light of National Pizza Month this month, we are going to have some pizza trivia, ask you some questions. What do you think about it? I said earlier in the class, and I think that it is a fantastic food. We're hoping that you enjoy the pizza. It's going to be tasty. And so I'm going to read some pizza trivia for you guys. Okay, pepperoni. I should have asked you, what's the favorite topping? It's pretty obvious. Pepperoni is Americans' favorite topping, with over 36% of all orders featuring this meat topping. Wow. I love pepperoni too. I wish that my family liked it as much as me, my husband mainly. And also, let's see, does anyone know how much pizza or how much pepperoni is consumed on pizzas each year? Like just a ballpark amount? How much is consumed a year? I don't know if you guys will guess it. Type it in the chat. See if you can guess. And then I'll go on for some other trivia while you're typing that in the chat. Let's see. The U.S. per capita consumption of mozzarella cheese is almost 11 pounds. Wow. Okay. Let's see. Women are twice as likely as men to order vegetarian pizza. Okay. Oh, and then someone said on the chat, so say, okay, so the moisture content doesn't matter for the fathead dough. It does not. So for the shredded versus buying a mozzarella bowl, I definitely wouldn't use the 150,000 pounds. Let's see, what did I ask you? Nope, 252 million pounds, Tambra, of pepperoni are consumed each year on pizzas. Oh my gosh. That's crazy. That's a lot of pepperoni. Okay. But as far as the question about what type of cheese to use, we buy the pre-shredded. It's easier. I know it has a little starch in it, but overall, it's still very low carb. Okay. And when we put it in the nutrition facts on the analysis, it accounts for pre-shredded cheese. But you can get the ball and shred it yourself. I just don't recommend using fresh mozzarella for the dough. It should be the drier that you shred yourself or you buy pre-shredded. Okay, I got to do a little bit more. I got to do a little bit more trivia, just like one more question, okay? What is the average amount of slices of pizza that Americans eat every year? I kind of wasn't impressed with this one. I got to tell you. All right, since you're all night typing fast and I'm getting the signal to go back to the dessert, we're going to dessert. It's 46 slices a year. I don't know. That didn't seem like that many to me. I think I eat that many a year of the fathead pizza, of course. All right. Well, I'm going to switch it all over to Jen, and we're going to get going on the desserts.
Yeah, I feel like I could easily eat that many pieces of pizza in a year, but we eat pizza pretty consistently, so maybe it depends on how often you eat pizza. I don't know. I think pizza's awesome. It's one of my favorite things. So like Amber said, it's time to move on to dessert. So our last pizza's in the oven, doing its thing. So we wanted to come up with a little bit of a dessert that's rich, that's tasty, not overly sweet, not overly complicated, something you can kind of whip up pretty quick. So we've got some brownie bites, very, very simple with these guys. What we're doing here is we're starting with our cup of peanut butter in the food processor. Now, can you do this without a food processor? Yes. Your arm's going to get a bit of a workout. Just going to let you know that ahead of time. But it would be challenging, but you could do it. So we're going to start with our peanut butter. You could do almond butter. You could do sunflower butter. You could do cashew butter. We just need a nut butter in here. That's going to be the big thing here. And basically, we're going to dump it all in, let it do its thing, and then we're going to just roll out the brownie bites. Easy peasy. So what we've got here is our cocoa powder, about 2/3 of a cup of cocoa powder. And then we've got our sweetener. So we have sweetener of choice, 1/3 cup. I would highly suggest that you use powdered. You can use the granular, but it will be a little gritty when you roll up your balls. And so if you don't care about that, that's fine. But if you want something smoother, if that's kind of what you prefer, then you're going to want to go with the powdered. We have the powdered erythritol under the Swerve name brand. So that's what we have. A little bit of salt in here. Right? I know salt in a dessert sounds maybe weird to some of you, but salt is what brings the flavor forward, when really kind of enhances the flavor. So we need a little bit of that in here. Not a lot, just a 1/4 teaspoon. So we're not going crazy with it. So we're just going to go ahead and dump this in. Now you could stop here if you wanted to. Basic brownie bite recipe. We kind of wanted to level it up a little bit. So what we have here are some no sugar added white chocolate chunks. So you could buy sugar-free or no sugar added white chocolate chips. What I found in Walmart this morning were those little melting wafers. And so what we did is we just chopped it up a little bit, so it's just a little easier to incorporate in here. So again, you don't have to do these. We just thought it would taste really good. I mean, why not, right? And then I'll show you the ones that we use. There's the Lily's brand, which a lot of people are familiar with. I saw several different options with Lily's brand, just not the white chocolate. So we have Bake Believe. I've seen this one a little bit more recently on the interweb. So Bake Believe, that's cute. And so this had wafers. So we chopped it up just to make it a little bit easier to toss in here. And the sweetener in this guy is erythritol, and then there is a little bit of stevia. 15 total grams of carbohydrate, but 8 of that is erythritol. So already less than half is actually going to be sugars that are doing anything to your blood sugar. So anytime, that's something to actually know, is anytime you're looking at a product that uses erythritol, if they are kind enough to break the erythritol out on the nutrition label for you, they don't always in this kind of a product. I'm sure they're going to, because that's how they can show you that it's actually not as high in sugar as the total carbs has to say. But you get to subtract the erythritol away from that total. So erythritol has to be included in the total carbohydrate, but all of the erythritol grams don't actually absorb and affect your blood sugar. So you can subtract those back, and then your total carbs and sugar just looks a lot nicer, right? So we technically have a very, very low sugar product here on our hands. And I got to tell you, I tried a little bit. Tastes pretty good. I'm digging it. So we're going to go ahead and get this guy going. Pulse a little bit here. So after a couple of pulses, you're just going to want to let it ride, and eventually it should all incorporate and then ball up. And maybe this would be a good time while I'm scraping this and getting this guy going. Another trivia. Amber, do we have another trivia? Another trivia pizza something, right? Something special or Halloweenish. Anyone have, we could share Halloween traditions. Does anyone have any particular Halloween traditions? Some people really go gangbusters and do fun and special things on Halloween. Some people are no Halloween and they do something else. I'd love to hear in the chat, what kind of Halloween traditions do you have?
That is a great idea, Jen. Oh, Maggie, I love it. I travel to a new place, town, country place every year to celebrate. That's awesome. All right. Hopefully you can hear me over the food processor. My apologies. More pizza is consumed during Super Bowl week than any other week of the year. I thought that was pretty cool. Pretty obvious, right? Jen didn't hear that, of course, because she was blending.
None of that.
Super Bowl. Most pizza ever consumed is during Super Bowl week.
Oh, sure.
Right?
Yeah.
Pizza is the number 2 item in food service after hamburgers.
Yeah, I could see that.
And it's the number 2 in takeout after chicken. Yeah. Let's see.
Pizza. Thank you, DoorDash, right?
Yeah. Greetings from Vegas. All right, Joyce. Let's see.
Wait, what? What was that one?
Someone's from Vegas. Greetings from Vegas.
Oh, hey.
Yeah, that's awesome. All
City
right.
of fun, right? Yeah. I think I got this all goopy and gooey. All right, keep putting your stuff in the chart. I'm going to roll a few of these little brownie bites here together for you guys.
Just come over here.
I'm going to use this guy. You can use just a spoon. Roll.
If I have sound on over there, it doesn't work. It's echoing.
Okay.
So let's see. I thought this one was cool. 61% of American population prefers regular thin crust, and 11% choose extra thin. And then let's see, thick crust and deep dish are tied for the second most popular type of pizza with 14% each.
Interesting.
Yeah. And this one's funny. Those of us who've had kids, when asked, most kids between the ages of 3 and 11 will list pizza as their favorite food. Mm-hmm.
Love it.
All right. And the last one, I'm going to say, for now, there are 3 billion pizzas sold each year in the U.S. and over 5 billion pizzas sold worldwide every year.
Wow.
That is crazy.
We love our pizza. Thank you, Italy.
Yes.
All right. I saw some things popping up in the chat. If you're able to see if anyone shared traditions or comments or fun things that they like to do. Woo! We got our
Joyce said football game and show at the Sphere so far. Oh, fun.
Oh, that's cool.
Yes.
Oh, right. Because Boise, is it you dare to watch Boise? Because Boise is down there watching UNLV, right? Am I right?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, I think we're playing Reno. I don't know if we're playing.
I thought it was UNLV.
Oh, yep.
Someone say it. I heard it on the news this morning. Not a Boise fan, but I watch the news, so I'm hip to a little bit of what's going on with those guys. Good for them. They're doing great. Genty is amazing. He's fun to watch. I don't care who you are, right? So not a fan, but he's fun to watch. And I bet BSU sure is glad they have him, huh? I would be. He's a Heisman potential candidate, which would be so awesome. Yeah. Oh, is he the number one?
Right now.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Okay. So we got a few of these brownie bites. Boom, boom, boom. That one's a little big, actually. So if you roll them out to the number on the actual recipe, it's not even 100 calories, it's not even 75 calories per bite. It's really, and these are rich. So you'll probably find that one bite is going to do it for you. So you could do a few things. You can leave these as is, stick them in the fridge or the freezer so they stay firm because they're a little gooey because it's the peanut butter. So they're a little gooey at room temperature. Or there is a ganache recipe on the brownie bites. And a ganache is basically like a soft chocolate coating that we can make and put on. So if you just melt the chocolate and roll that, as soon as it hardens, it's going to have more of that crunchy shell kind of a vibe, which if you like that texture, that's great. But if we put that little bit of coconut oil in there, or a lot of times with the ganache, it's a little bit of heavy whipping cream, it softens that chocolate just a tiny bit and it makes it a little bit more biteable. And so if you do that, warm it, and then you just roll each bite in that and lift it out with a fork and put it on your wax paper and let it cool, let it chill in the fridge. They'll be firm, but soft enough to easily bite through. And you're just going to add that extra fun little layer on the outside. And again, you could leave those as is and just chill them. You could sprinkle some nuts on that. Now I'm adding things to the recipe, so that's not part of the recipe. The nuts I just pulled out of the air, but little things like that. You can also leave these as is, not as is, but you could just roll these in some cocoa powder and get a little bit of that kind of dusting on the outside, which would be fun. If you have some powdered erythritol, you can roll that in those, kind of get a little bit of that snowball kind of a look. So you got a few options there with those, but these are really good. They're really rich. A little goes a long way. So if you make a batch, at least keeping some in your freezer, I think you'll find that they last for quite a while. So I think we gotta get this party moving along, you guys. I'm getting the like signal, move it. So let's move on. Commercial break. We're gonna go to our last recipe, and then we're gonna bring this sucker home. All right, back in a minute.
Okay, everyone. Well, this is getting exciting. We've got one final recipe for you all, and it's going to be quick and awesome. A nice little beverage, a little brew for our Halloween pizza class today. So as we are wrapping up this class, I just want to emphasize our team is here for you. We have these classes. We love it when you stay connected. Even if you can't make the cooking class, you can sign up. We can get you the recipes. We'll have the recording. And so we're always here, right? The more you stay connected, we have like I said, all these classes that you can take, which are so helpful. I know some of the scheduling doesn't always fit. That's why we're going to work on some recorded versions of the of the um of the live sorry, not the live healthy living class. We're going to work on the recorded versions of the healthy living. That's what I meant to say. My apologies for stumbling on that one. But anyway, we're going to be having those available to you because we know how helpful they are. Building habits, meal planning, right? You want to watch those. Someone asked, and it's like, yes, we want you to have that info. So we'll be having that for you in the upcoming year. And then remember, some of you may not know this, but we take all of the recipes from every year and they are put in, we have a digital cookbook. So we have them from prior years. We're going to have it for this year. It's going to be awesome. That's available to you. You just have to ask us for it, right? So, and that way you can print off your favorite recipes and do what you need to do, right? Because you might not like them all. I get it. I don't like them all. I pretty much like a lot of them, though. They're super good. We've got some great desserts. And then February. So, of course, we're going to do the meal planning, meal prep in January, always for New Year's resolution. And February, we're doing all desserts, y'all. It's going to be awesome. Okay. Jen is ready. She's signaling me now. So we got to get going. All right.
That's right. Stay on time, right? Stay on time. Yes. So we're down to our last recipe. Here's our brew, right? We're going to have a little something to have on the side or in between or after a little bit, right? So we wanted to have for you something, again, kind of fallish, but still pulls in some of the things that you might be trying to work on, like extra protein, which is pretty much what we're always trying to work on, right? So whether or not you have, you're working on your health and you had surgery, planning on having surgery, or you're kind of going for a more non-surgical, side and you're working on lifestyle, or you're looking at medications to help with that, really doesn't matter. All of that, we're always focusing on protein to make sure that we are at least optimizing how much you need. So we're going to have a little bit of a higher protein pumpkin spice latte. So what we have here, cup of liquid. This is half a cup of milk, half a cup of coffee. And I just put them all in here together. We're just dumping it all in the blender. We're going to rock this thing and then we're going to go. So that's what I've got here, decaf or regular, whatever you need to do depending on what you tolerate best or the time of day, right? So we've got that. We are actually going to put pumpkin in this. I know it's kind of throws people, but a pumpkin spice anything is usually just the spices that go into it. A lot of times there's no pumpkin involved, just the pumpkin spice. But we're actually going to do a little bit of pumpkin. There are some really great health advantages to using pumpkin. There's a lot of good vitamins in there, a little bit of extra fiber. We're only using about a tablespoon, so not a ton, but every little bit helps. So every little bit we can sprinkle into our day. It all does add up by the end of the day. Make sure it's pumpkin puree, not pumpkin pie filling. All we want is the pumpkin. That's what we've got. And then we've got our pumpkin spice. So about a quarter teaspoon of some pumpkin spice here. Boom, it's going in. And then we've got half a scoop of protein powder. This one's vanilla. I think vanilla is a great, unflavored would be a great addition. So something that is a fairly simple flavor, vanilla unflavored, I say would be the best for this. And we're gonna go ahead and put those in. We're using our NutriBullet today. So our bullet blender. You can use a regular blender, it's fine. You could use the shaker bottle if you got one of those with a little whisk circle in the middle. We're just going to zip this guy up. Doesn't need too long, just long enough to make sure that you get the spices really stirred in to the liquid, the protein powder, well stirred into the liquid, and then that pumpkin, right? Want to make sure the pumpkin goes in there. So if you need to blend it a little bit longer, that's fine. We are going to use our festive mug. If you're not a Charlie Brown Peanuts fan, get out. How could you not be? This is great. So we've got our Halloween mug here. We're going to put it in the Halloween mug. Now you can, ooh, that's a lot. You can microwave this. Now I have to be really careful. It's very full. You can microwave it. You could put it in a pan. You could warm it on the stove if you want to go hot. You can leave it cold. That's fine, right? To his own, to each his own. If you're heating it, do not heat above 140 degrees. It will curdle the protein, and then you'll have what looks like cottage cheese chunks in your pumpkin pie spice latte. So warm, not hot. Okay, so that's something to be aware of. You try not to overheat it, and if you do, that's what happens, and then you'll know what you did. Now, if you really want to get spicy, there's the arm. We'll put a little bit of whipped cream on top. I'm going to try to without totally blowing it away because it's really, oh, look at it. It's just like all over. That's a perfect picture right there. So now you have a pretty bang up, nice little drink. not super sweet. So if you needed to add a couple extra stevia drops or something like that to it, you sure could. But this is not an overly sweet drink. So if you like things not overly sweet, I think you'll really enjoy it as is. But you could always do little tweaks like that if you feel like you need to. So there is our pumpkin spice latte. So what we need to do is we need to take one more commercial break. No, we're not doing a commercial break. We're staying. I'm getting the no from the producer in the back. Don't do it. All right, let's go ahead and see what we got. So here's our first pizza, right? Our pear sausage, caramelized onion with amazing Gouda sauce pizza right there on our nice little pie pan. And what Shirley did for us, which isn't part of the instructions, but I think is a really cool and creative idea, is there was a little leftover sauce. She drizzled that on the top at the end when she was dressing this guy up for us. That's another fun way to use up a little bit of that sauce if you want to reserve a little bit, or just if you have a little left over. There it is. Here's our fall festive flavors pizza on our little spiderweb tray. So that's our flatbread. And I know I like threw it out there really quick, but don't forget the feta. I forgot to throw the feta on, so I yanked it back out, put the feta on. That'll add a ton of flavor, so don't forget the feta. Really, really good guy with that one. Eyeballs. There's our eyeball pizza. That looks pretty good. That really does look like eyeballs. So there you go. People are going to love that. That is super, super fun. And then here are our brownie bites, right? So nice little tray there of brownie bites again, super rich. Probably going to stop at one. You're really going to like those, especially if you've got a sweet tooth and you need something to help with that. Boy, that is going to hit the done button for you as well. And then, of course, we've got our latte, which I won't move because it's just like overflowing like a perfect picture of a drippy latte would. So this is what we have today, you guys. Give it a try. The pizza crust is really, really good. It's very versatile. You can use it for pizzas. You can use it for breadsticks. So there's a lot of bread substitute options that you can do with that. And boy, I would just have some fun with this. I know. So Maggie is saying yum, and she is right. And I'm sorry there's no smell-o-vision or samples we can send to the screen with you, but we're excited because we get to eat some of this. So make sure you give all these a try. The latte, the brownie bites, it's all really, really good. We are looking forward to seeing you guys again next month. Just so you know, again, no live cooking class in December, but we are still going to put together recipes and information for you. We are still going to send that out to you. That is still going to count for you towards your December cooking class, if that's something that you need for a check mark as part of your process. So we're still going to give you some good stuff. We just won't be able to have the actual live class. But next month in November, you can bet your sweet Bippy we're going to be here. So we'll see you next month. Join us in some of those other classes. Let us know and sign up. And we will see you. Happy Halloween. Happy October. Happy fall. Go make yourself a hot drink and enjoy this nice, beautiful fall weather. See you guys later.